Not hearing the music, but okay. We don't know if the music's played or not. But welcome to the Tesla Live number 178. Here we are on the, what is it, the 9th of December? We're already getting close to halfway through the last month of the year, just trudging along. And as always, we have Mr. Casey Green joins us from the mid-Atlantic coast. How are you today, sir?
Doing quite well.
Excellent, excellent. And also joining us, as per usual, Mr. Patrick Connor from the left coast. How are you today, sir?
I'm good, thanks, Mark. And hello to everybody out there loving the Tesla life. So what's the Tesla life, you might ask? It's reducing your carbon footprint and lifting people up. It's a mission to end emissions. And, of course, it's embracing a future free from fossil fuels.
Of course it is. Love it, Patrick. Love it. Okay, so
almost had a rap going.
Yeah, it's got. I'm sure it's on its way.
Gonna keep getting longer every week.
As usual, there is no stopping the Tesla news. There's a ton of it, and we're going to get right to some breaking or hot or flaming news. Mr. Casey Green brings us the first story of the evening.
Yes, so we were looking at a Starship Serial number 8 launch. Transition to skydiving. Transition back to landing. And a fireball.
Exactly. That was at what, 5:40 Eastern time was the launch or the countdown?
That was the liftoff, yeah.
Yeah.
It had a successful launch up to the full 12 point whatever kilometers. They weren't doing 15 because of FAA. That's what they'd been approved for. The burn was incredibly long.
It was.
Did not expect it to last so long. And then it successfully transitioned, it tipped over, cut the engines, and did a skydive. The flaps worked, everything. Then it successfully transitioned back and relit the engines. That was all fine. And then one of the engines went green, which means it's burning copper, which is either burning the engine itself or burning TTEB, because I don't believe these use TTEB, though, so that would be weird. And,
yeah, I was wondering about that. I was like, that green flame doesn't look right, and then ba-boom.
I thought it was one of the engine bells burning up, or the insides of the engine. And Elon later told us that it was a lack of sufficient header pressure in the header tanks, and it actually was like 3 rocket lengths above the ground before it didn't make it. So that was impressive. It was going to do right. It did not extend the legs. Once that green flame kicked in, the other rocket engine, it appeared to have attempted to make up for the difference, but it wasn't enough at where it was. And then as soon as it hit, as soon as it had impact with the concrete on the landing pad, the green flame turned orange. The whole rocket.
Yeah. Well, so okay, it ended with a nice fireball, which was exciting. But this was a test flight, and this is not unexpected. In fact, the fact that it got that far through and did as much as it did is, they said at the end, congratulations on a successful test flight, because this was, and the fact that it ended with an explosion just makes it more exciting, and yet still successful.
Yeah, because basically from the way that Elon was selling it, I was expecting there was a high chance it would blow up on the pad, or somewhere along its test profile. And after we were staring at the smoldering pad for a minute or 3, they said, as Patrick said, congratulations on this successful launch. And then underneath that, they said, up next, SN number 9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this did a few things. Like it hovered for a while, which I didn't expect that. That was really cool. And then they switched to the belly flop maneuver, and that was really cool to see. So they're using aerodynamic pressure, air friction to slow down, and the fins or ailerons, whatever they're called, they were actually moving as part of that, which I didn't even know that they were. I thought they were static, but apparently they're not. So that was pretty cool.
Talking about the ones in the front?
No, well, it was hard to tell from the camera angles. I thought it was the ones in the back, but
Yeah, the ones in the back were definitely moving. To me, it appeared that the ones in the front were, even though I think those are supposed to be static. Yeah.
Yeah,
but they're there for to increase drag on the vehicle as well as steering.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that way they could stay stable, and the belly flop maneuver looked like it went off great. I mean, like it didn't start spinning out of control or anything crazy. So yeah, they did what they needed to do. I'm sure they have a lot of data that they're going to be combing over before SN9 takes off.
Yeah, but it was as they mentioned, the header tank didn't have enough pressure, so they're not going to have a problem with that header tank anymore. They'll have
fill it up all the way.
It's gone with the rest of it. But it was kind of interesting watching it do that belly flop maneuver. I don't know if it was because of the camera angle or what, but at one point it did seem to kind of nose down as it was doing the belly flop, and I was going, "Oh, that's probably not good. I don't think they want to go beyond the belly flop into a nosedive." But it quickly straightened out and ended up in a horizontal position for the ride down.
Yeah.
Exciting news, fun to watch, and as Patrick mentioned, the big surprise at the end was not completely unexpected. In fact, there was a lot of odds saying that it wouldn't be able to perform all the test without it possibly breaking up.
Right. Mm-hmm. The height at which it transitioned back to vertical was also unexpected. But if I was a passenger on that for Starship Earth to Earth, well, not that unit, but if I was a passenger on this service for Starship Earth to Earth, I would probably prefer to have been transitioned to vertical. Probably right about where it did, rather than where the insinuated it could go, because that would be
nothing like switching back to vertical with only the height of 2 of the starships, and then boom on the ground. Like, wow, just incredible.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic! But we'll post a link to the video. You can watch it yourself, or you can go to SpaceX.com and they'll be running it if they're not doing it already.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Next, state of Michigan. We celebrated this just a little while ago that the state of Michigan had put a bill in place to allow the sale of Teslas in the state, as well as service, which service is already happening. But what we found out just this at the beginning of the week, 7 days ago, so the end of last week, we found out that the state has modified the bill before it goes for the vote. And the modifications have taken out the specifics that would allow Tesla to sell cars in the state as well as service. So this is a serious problem for Tesla because, of course, at the last moment, they've changed it. The vote has not happened on it yet, but I understand it's imminent. And this is something that I don't know if Michigan plays fast and loose all the time with these type of things, but it's certainly something that's concerning to people of the state, people that own Teslas in that state. If I were you, I would certainly get a hold of my local EV group and make your voices be known to your state legislators. Get out in force and start sending those emails and putting in those phone calls and leaving voice messages, because something has to be done here. We can't let this stand. It's horrible the way that this was changed at the last second.
Yeah, the article title has it well, where they call it sneaky House bill reversal. This is supposed to be, land of the free. This is just a company trying to sell their products, and they're using these sneaky tactics to stop it. It's just ridiculous. That's not what freedom's about. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So we'll keep our eye on this, but this is what's happening right now. So if you're in Michigan, get a hold of your local EV authority or local EV group and start doing something about this. I would suggest anyone that's out there that does not belong to an EV group for their state or province to join it, because whenever something does happen unexpected, it's always good to have the backing of a whole province or state of people that are like-minded, and you guys can act a lot quicker, and the legislatures will listen to you a lot more if there's volume behind the voices. So keep that in mind. Even if you're not, part of a community, join one, just so that you're out there. You're on an email list. You guys can, jump into action if it needs to happen.
That's great advice.
Next story, Boring Company gets a win, and win in this case is spelled W-Y-N-N. And the reason for this, of course, is because the Boring Company has been granted expansion approval from the Las Vegas Convention Center and the Las Vegas, I guess it would be the Las Vegas as a whole, to push a new tunnel out to the Wynn hotel that's on or near the Strip. So one of the Wynn properties. There's multiple Wynn properties. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's one of the hotels that's close to the Strip. And this was the first one actually that had contacted the Boring Company as they were digging the other tunnels for the convention center. They had wanted to be part of the project, and they've been granted that ability. The Boring Company has approval, and expansion will happen to at least that one casino. And of course, we've seen the other plans to push it out to the entire Strip, including the sports arena and McLaren Airport. So again, great news for the Boring Company as people are starting to look at the work that they've done, and that's going to pay benefits for them down the line, because it's going to be able to allow people to see their work in action, and it won't be considered such a shot in the dark. We've never heard of them. We don't know what they're like. How do they handle a contract? All those things will start to go away as projects are successfully completed.
Yep. So there's a Tesla supercharger station there in Vegas. I hope they have one of the Boring Company tunnel entrances by the supercharger. How you can pull in, plug in, hop in the Boring Company tunnel and go wherever you want in Vegas. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And then be back in 20 minutes.
That's right. Yeah, you don't want the idle fees.
That's right. You would never want the idle fees. That's for sure.
It would add up.
And the Boring Company also released a quick little repeating video that we will share here. You guys seeing that?
Yeah, that was a cool video.
Comes with a little audio, and you've got this fantastic view in the one underground station that they have. So you see the escalator at the far end, and of course 2 tunnels to the right and left of the escalators going on to the next stop.
Very cool. Where's the trash can?
Yeah, no trash.
Yeah, exactly. I'd say one of the stations they have. Maybe the trash can's at the other station.
It's a running gag here.
Your trash can is in another station.
Yeah, so that was fantastic to see that. Actually, when I saw the screenshot of that, I thought the roof of the Model 3 where the lights were flashing on, I thought those were lines for the road. Because I didn't look at it too closely the first time, and I was going, "Why? That's pretty wide coming out of those tunnels, all that blacktop." But no, that's just the roof, and of course the neon lights. So let the rave party begin. I'm sure it's about to.
Yes.
Next, what are we moving on to? Casey's going to talk a little bit about the Semi.
Yes. So Simon Alvarez over at Teslarati has footage of the Tesla Semi performing the semi-level acceleration again. I was going to say ludicrous, but that's not accurate. And
it is for Semi, let me tell you.
It is for Semi, but my car's got ludicrous. The car is a little slower.
I can just imagine the entire load being pushed to the back of the trailer because this accelerating load bars are going to have to be used in a lot more frequency when the Tesla Semi gets on the road. And for those that aren't involved in trucking, those bars are placed at different intervals of the load so that if the load shifts or moves so with traffic, it holds them in spot. So that's what a load bar is.
Yeah, you don't want all your eggs being delivered scrambled.
Exactly. So somebody had pointed out that it looked like the doors were swinging open, but it was really the aerodynamic doors. I guess they were folded, and they were no longer folded after the acceleration event.
it took them out of their safety lock.
Yes.
Oh man.
You got the video of that?
Do we have? I don't. No.
Okay, never mind.
We'll link it, but
yeah,
I don't have it rolling right now.
Yeah. It's always impressive to see something that big move that quietly and that fast.
Exactly.
On the ground, not straight up like a
rocket. Fun to see, and of course that electric whine coming out of the motors, which was recorded on the audio as well. So that's very interesting. Again, that's one of the biggest releases I'm waiting for, is to start to see these trucks in action. And I think it's long overdue for the industry. They're going to love it, especially the ability to go up grade at speed is going to be a big plus for a number of different trucking companies that traverse the West, especially crossing over those mountains.
Well, any mountains. The trucks can do 60 miles an hour loaded is going to be awesome. If you get behind a truck, you're not going to be. I mean, you may be going faster than that, but you're not going to get down to the 30s.
Exactly.
On.
Yeah, some of them going up Mount Shasta slow down like to 15. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the Appalachians they're a little bit shorter, so 35 is as low as we go. But you're right, out west they can get even slower than that.
Yeah.
And if you try to get out from behind them to merge up, a lot of people don't realize how long it takes their car to kick down a gear and move up to get the right RPMs to get torque with their fossils. But
right.
It's not a problem with electric.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's besides the fuel savings, just things like that. Like the truck will be able to actually go freeway speeds, so it'll be able to get to where it needs to go faster. That's that's going to mean more runs can be made, that more products can be delivered and on time, and yeah, that's great.
And with all
speaking of someone getting out of everyone's way, this particular Model 3 was pulled over by the RCMP in British Columbia, and driver was given a ticket for excessive lighting on the exterior of his car. This is starting to get popular. I see a number of vehicles that have a little string of lights on their roof or somewhere else on the vehicle, but this guy went over the top and with duct tape that you can see on the trunk here in these corners for sure. There are pieces of duct tape just sticking these tree lights to the outside of their vehicle. And yeah, this is not going to fly for the police. So
particularly having green lights facing the rear is a huge no-no.
Yeah. So a little bit too much holiday cheer going on this particular vehicle. But I think you can get away with some of it, but not the whole car. There's going to be problems with that for sure.
You also don't want white lights facing the rear when you're not in reverse, or red lights facing the front. Probably no green lights, period. I gotta look into the regs for sure.
We didn't want to trick any autonomous cars.
Not even just the autonomous cars.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, I don't know. He deserves a ticket just for putting duct tape on his Tesla. Come on. At least use painter's tape or something. That's just not right.
Next story Patrick's got for us about a 35 billion reasons not to do something.
Billions and billions.
This is from Testmania and is titled Tesla. TSLA short sellers lost 35 billion in 2020. Quote, there's nothing that compares to it that I can remember, end quote, says S3 Partners. So yeah, this has been a great year for Tesla stock, and if you were shorting it, you have not done very well. And I should mention, I'm long Tesla, so we've talked many times about how this stock, there are a lot of people that don't understand it. They don't see the whole big vision. They just say, oh, they're a car company, they make this many cars, therefore they should be $90 a share or whatever. And you're missing so much of the important parts of this story if that's the spreadsheet you're looking at. And it goes on. So $35 billion. Think about what could have been done with that money. There are companies, many companies, worth less than that. And instead, people are just losing it in supposed investments here. That's not investing in the future. That's betting against a company trying to improve the world. I mean, stop. Please, just stop. There's another good section in here. At the moment, short sellers own about 6% of the stock in total, which is much higher than the typical 1% to 2% short positions that are out there for large cap companies. And you start looking at the other ones that have above average holdings, and there's companies like Apple and Google. Well, okay, Tesla's in good company then. I just don't understand it. So there are many short sellers who have given up on it. They said that the number of holdings is down 3% this year. So that's great. 63% of people that were shorting it have now stopped, and I guess their pain threshold has been exceeded. And if you start looking at Tesla's cash flow, they are going to hit escape velocity. The days of worrying about them being bankrupt tomorrow are gone. And again, this is not stock advice. It's just how I would play this, so don't take advice from the podcast. There you go. What do you guys think?
Well, I was talking with my one of my buddies, the one who was able to buy his Model 3 in stock, and we talked about how much he had earned, and then after we hung up, I got to thinking. I was like, well, let me see what happened with my investment, because all I do is, see the day-to-day. It's up this much, it's up that much. Whenever I do choose to look, I don't watch it like a hawk. Mm-hmm. And I should have never bought that Xbox that used to live on the shelf there. Because I put half an Xbox into it, and it is grown significantly. So.
Yeah, it's interesting, Patrick, when you see information about these shorts being burned now to the amount that it is, that the pain threshold of those still involved with it must be extreme. Yeah. Because with the stock continuing to go up and continuing to hit record highs, that means they have to cover those short positions continually. And they're having to dump extra money into it to hold those positions. I find it remarkable that still, 37% of them are still involved with it. Where does it end? I guess if the stock just keeps going up, they'll just keep dropping out. I don't see why they would still be in it. But man, there's obviously some dedicated people in there that are willing to take a lot of pain. Yeah.
At what point do you say, okay, I'm this whatever strategy I thought I was doing here is not working? And if you're holding on to it, at some point, it's just because you're being spiteful or stubborn and irrational and emotional and not logically investing your money. And that's just not the way. So yeah, the best way to become a millionaire, start out as a billionaire, short Tesla stock. There you go.
That is sound advice.
Yes.
But if you're going to burn the money anyways, just send it to us. That's fine.
Yes, yeah. We'll set up a Patreon or something.
Next story, touch upon, again, a police department story. Casey, what do you got there?
Yes. How do I sound on this one?
Sounding good.
All right. So the city of Eden is buying the city of Eden Prairie is buying themselves a Tesla Model Y to use as a police cruiser, The mock-up looks incredible, and this is going to be our theme for a while. Is all these police departments are switching over to cleaner and greener transportation choices.
Exactly. This photo is a mock-up. It's not the actual Eden or the Minnesota Police Department vehicle, but it does give you an idea as to what a Model Y will look like. And of course, if the Michigan detachment gets it, I believe this will be the first Model Y as a police vehicle in the U.S. or anywhere for that matter.
Yeah. Right. And we've seen S's and 3s, but no Y's yet. So they're coming soon.
We've even seen mock-ups of X's. Like, they were literally X's, but they just weren't actually put into service. They were just for show. They mentioned in the article, they mentioned Bargersville, so word is spreading about the savings.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Actually, our police department here in Waterloo Region is now looking at an electric vehicle or hybrid to introduce to their police force. So this is, again, these stories, these successes are going to, just populate more successes as time goes along. As it becomes commonplace, it just gets easier and easier for people to get on board once they've seen other people have already broken the trail and have data to show this information is correct.
Yeah, and the whys. So I was talking to my neighbor who works at a local police department, and he was saying that the S is too expensive and the 3 was too small for their needs. So the Y might be the perfect compromise there.
Exactly. Well, with more and more flavors coming out, you think that's going to just that's going to help everybody because if they have an application that doesn't quite work for one, having a number of models, including the Cybertruck coming, just all these extra abilities that open themselves up to other police departments. So we'll be definitely keeping our eye on that, because we know there's a number of actual Cybertrucks that have been ordered for police departments already. So
right, it's bulletproof. Why not?
It's an urban assault vehicle. Exactly. Next story we're going to touch upon is about a letter that Elon has sent out to his employees. And what I found interesting in this letter is Elon talks about, of course, the unprecedented height of the Tesla stock, which I believe any employee that's in the company gets some shares and is connected to the stock in a way, right out from being an employee. So there is some sort of a stock program internally for employees. And Elon wanted to make the point that, even though Wall Street now has given Tesla a long rope to run with, as in a higher price, as in they believe that the future is in Tesla's hands and they are running it well. He also indicated that like a souffle being hit by a sledgehammer, things can change rapidly in the stock market. So he wanted to ask his employees to be on the lookout for ways to make the company trimmer, ways for the company to promote new ideas to make them more efficient, to lower costs, to change procedures that will make things run smoother, faster, more efficiently. And this letter went out to everyone. They're looking for any type of ideas that can lower the cost of operating, so that the price of the vehicles can be lower, so that the speed of implementation can be quicker, so that they can run far more efficiently. And of course, Tesla being a new company, a lot of these ideas are coming up, and we've seen some of them discussed, talked about in the way they lay out their manufacturing plants now, in the way that they build their cars. There's many different examples of them taking information from employees and rolling it forward, which is great to see. Having everyone invested in those ideas helps the company immensely.
Yeah, I really like the visual idea there of a souffle under a sledgehammer. That really kind of gets the point across that it's a volatile stock and anything can happen and there will be ups and downs. So Although there was one webcast I was watching it, and they were reading it, and they called it a souffle. So I'm like, no, that's a souffle. But if you mentioned the employee stocks, and like Casey, you said earlier, when you have some, but you don't look at it. You don't look at it all that often, and that's great because that means that it's an amount you're not worried about, and that you can tolerate that level of volatility in your holdings and not worry about it. Whereas if you're an employee and you're living paycheck to paycheck like a lot of people, maybe that's not as easy to do. So be smart with your money. When if you can't tolerate that, then just make it a regular part of what you're selling. The way that these employee programs work, you usually get some kind of discount, and there's a time window of some number of months, and then you get to buy it at the open or the close of that window and at a discount. So that's great. So even if the stock went down, you get it 15% below the current value. And depending on your tax bracket and all that, this is not tax advice either. That 15% discount can either be counted as regular income, or if you hold that long enough, it can become what's called qualified, and then it transitions to long-term capital gains, which is an even better tax rate. So just think about what strategy you want to use, have a plan, stick to it, and that might include selling some of this stock that you're buying while you continue to participate in future stocks. So yeah, there's some financial advice that you should consult a professional about.
Casey, your mic is muted. It's completely muted. Patrick, are you hearing Casey?
Not at all.
Okay.
I saw him doing some swapping mics there, but
yeah, it's muted, Casey, for some reason. Still muted. No voice at all. But you can go ahead and keep working on that. And as soon as we hear you, we'll definitely let you know. But next story we wanted to talk a little bit about was about Tesla launching a new commercial charging group internally. Mm-hmm. So this group has been tasked with the project of concentrating on large living developments like condos, apartment buildings, things of that nature, where there may be spaces that are shared with the people living in those residences, such as parking structures or garages that hold multiple vehicles and spots on different levels. And this new charging group that Tesla has started is supposed to start looking at solutions and providing simple solutions to allow people with multiple residences to implement some sort of EV charging, whether it's shared or whether it is individual to parking spots. I'm sure they're going to have both options on the table depending on the type of development. But it is interesting that they've started to look at this. We've all known that many people living in these type of arrangements have more difficulty in charging than people, of course, that have their own driveway or have their own garage. Whereas some people with street parking in multi-unit developments have more difficulty. So it's great to see that Tesla is acknowledging this and putting together a team to work diligently on that particular aspect of EV charging.
Yeah, HOAs, parking
hey,
garages.
There he is.
He's back.
You gotta push the right button when you change microphones. But yeah, the place I was at, they were open to it, but they weren't actually open to doing any of the work. So if I had stayed, I probably would have brought them a company with the quotes and helped them bird dog it, but it wasn't worth the hassle with all the stay at home and the fact that I was leaving. So I was like, all that free labor.
This is really smart of Tesla, and it seems like from the beginning, Tesla's business model has been to say, okay, what are the barriers to EV adoption? Okay, the cars are not fast. We can fix that. Cars are not sexy. Okay, we're going to fix that. There's no charging network, so you can't drive across the country. We're going to fix that. And they're just knocking these problems off one at a time. And the cars are not affordable. Okay, they're working on that one. There's no place if you have an apartment or a condo, multi-tenant housing. Well, great. They're going to fix that too. And that was, I think the first wave of fixing that was the urban chargers. So that allowed you to charge on a daily or weekly basis without stressing the batteries as much, because they charge slower than the normal superchargers. But yet it still gets the job done in a reasonable amount of time. And so, yeah, this is just another one of those. And I also want to mention, since we're going through all of these things that Tesla has done, their destination charging network. That's sort of like the shadow network that doesn't get a lot of attention. But if you're looking to go on a vacation, and those are the places I'm going to look first. Hey, I want to head to the coast. Okay, who's got charging? Because that just makes the whole trip easier. If you can plug in, that's an amenity that I am going to be looking for. So if you've got a business out there, you should be thinking about that.
Yeah, it just makes sense as time goes along, as more and more EVs infiltrate the market, that the people that are going to be renting your apartments or buying your condos are going to want to have that infrastructure. And some people, of course, that are already in the segment already have an electric car, as myself, as all people on this panel. If we were moving, that's one of the things we look at in a destination, in a home, in a place of residence, as one of the boxes that we check. And when we're looking to rent or purchase a new property, it's what type of structure is available for us to plug our current vehicles in.
Yeah, when we were looking the first time, we figured it would be much more temporary than it was. And so that place not having charging on site, but also allowing us to use their plug, it worked out until they started their garage construction, and they had the same extension cable as me. So it's like, is my cable going to disappear in the middle of the night? Them thinking it was theirs. And so while we were looking around for this place, we ended up rejecting about 5 different places because there was no convenient way to get power to the parking spot. And here we've got the 30 amps is near enough to the car that we can run my volt charger to it, and when the car is in the garage, and when it's not, we can get 110 all the way through. So it's enough with this stuff.
I do have a tip for people that have a length of cord that they're scared is going to disappear, and that is you fold it through the rim, and you just buy a little padlock, a little master lock padlock, and you lock it to itself to the rim. So just put a fold of the cord through the rim, and then lock it to the both pieces of cord that run through the rim, and effectively they can't get out because it's locked to the rim. So I learned that when I had a Volt, and it was and it was something that had bothered me when it was out in public and someone could take off with a charger if they wanted to. Unlike a Tesla, the Volt did not have a locking pin that kept the charger locked in the charging port. But locking it to the front rim certainly did that. So if you're ever out there and you're unsure about that, just buy yourself a little $5 padlock, keep it in your glove box, and you can use that whenever you're unsure about your extension cord or whatever disappearing.
Yeah, my Volt solution was to put it in the crack of the hatch and then to close it till it clicked, but it wasn't closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing you can do is just put it in front of your tire and then roll over
Run it over.
You can do that, but eventually that ruins it.
Yeah, so that might cause don't take electrical advice from this podcast. Yeah, don't short it out.
Eventually we'll have trouble with that. It works for the first couple times, but after that, I don't know. Well, we've got another financial story. Seems to be a lot of financial stories today, and Patrick's going to tell us about that.
Yeah. So this is great news. So we talked about on this show, was it 2 weeks ago, how Tesla should consider, when they go into the S&P 500, doing another capital raise as part of that, because there are going to be a lot of shares being purchased that will be taken out of the float, and that would be a great opportunity for them to raise, even though they've already had 2 raises this year. Strike when the iron's hot, and guess what? That's exactly what they're doing. So yeah, if you've been listening to this show, this is not a surprise to you, although it seems to be a surprise to a lot of people writing for Wall Street. We're looking at an article here on Teslarati from Simon Alvarez, who I'm sure also was not surprised by this. Tesla boosts its cash further with $5 billion share sale ahead of the S&P 500 inclusion. So they're working with the same banks they've worked with for their others, and this is a at-market raise. So they're going to be selling them at whatever the market price is during this time, and they've limited it to $5 billion, but it could be less. But every other time when they've done this, they've sold all of it, and relatively quickly too. When the last one they did, the way that they worded it was that it would happen over a period of time. Well, that period of time went really quickly. The cool thing about Tesla's stock price, that means that their market cap is right now over 600 billion. So 5 billion is less than 1%. So it's not a lot of dilution to shareholders like me. And it also means that they're able to have more money in their coffers, which means if they want to build out their mega charger network for the semi, or they want to build a new East Coast factory or whatever, who knows what they're going to do in the future, they'll have the cash on hand to do that. And so, yeah, this is great. It's expected with that. I think they have about 14.5 billion in the bank now, and then this will add another 5. And looking at Q4, they should end up with over 20 billion in the bank by the end of the year. And that's like I said earlier, they're not in imminent demise. Bankruptcy is not about to happen anytime soon when you've got 20 bill in the bank.
Yeah, it's common for companies to I guess do those raises when things are good. And why wouldn't you? If you're able to raise that money, putting it into the bank and holding on to it is a great reason to do so. Just to keep everyone at bay, to understand that you've got a solid financial base, and it just with positive quarters, everything looks great. Like there's no, we've talked about this several times about ever since Tesla got its build of the Model 3 out of the gate and operating properly, that was the turning point.
Right. Once they got out of production hell, it's been all.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to the point where you're making consistent quarterly profits. They're now 5 quarters in with profits in a row. It's looking certainly that quarter 6 for the end of the year is going to be a positive one as well. And this being able to borrow money because you're doing so well is a lot easier to do. So putting that insurance policy in place is always a good thing to do while you can do it.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of borrowing, they might actually be able to use this to retire debts. So then that's, they won't be paying interest on loans to banks. Instead, they'll raise the money here, retire that debt, and not have to keep paying that interest. That's great.
Exactly. Yep. So fantastic, and we'll see as they approach the end of the quarter, which is only 18 days or so away, and we will put the final quarter of 2020 away, and hopefully they'll hit that milestone of 500,000 vehicles, which they've been pushing hard to do, and that will be another milestone, reach another step up the ladder, I believe. To their continual success. So
absolutely.
Again, nothing but blue sky that I can see from here on out. Continuing, looking good. But again, that's not stock advice.
Under construction. It's always nice to have some cash on hand.
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly. And that's kind of interesting that you mentioned factory, Casey, because our next story is about Elon Musk confirming that he has now personally moved out of California to Texas.
Absolutely.
He has cited the reasons that it's closer to the new production of a factory that he wants to keep his eye on. And of course, it's in the backyard of our first story of the evening, which is SpaceX with their launch facility in what's it called?
Boca Chica.
Boca Chica. So between Austin and Boca Chica, I imagine is where Musk will probably set up the household that is in between both of those items that he certainly has a lot of interest in. And I think it'll be interesting to see how the effect of the building of Giga Texas is going to be with Musk on site a lot more than what he was with any other factory build, excluding, of course, the factory in Nevada. I'm sure he was there quite a bit. But now living in that area, popping in to see what's going on at Tesla, Texas, I'm sure is going to keep a lot of people on their toes.
Mm-hmm.
So this brought up the memes. So you've got the how it started and how's it going. So how it started, you got the lady telling him to go sodomize himself, the female politician, and then you've got how it's going. There's the Texas politician welcoming him to Texas, both in tweets.
Yeah, and it's interesting that when Elon had publicly stated his displeasure with the state of California, with them not allowing him to open the plant when he wanted to, and had come out and said, "We are ready to move now to either Nevada or Texas," and that might have been the writing on the wall right then and there. Where he also moved one of his foundations from California to Austin. So it looks like he's starting to divest himself from California in certain ways. We don't know how far that will go. Obviously, there's a lot of employees that work at Tesla, and some of the high up employees certainly like living in California, and that was part of the reason why they chose Austin. It was as close to California culture as they could get, not being in California, apparently. And so Austin has that going for it. But I don't know. Do you guys, again, this is speculatory, but do you guys believe that Tesla HQ will move out of California in the foreseeable future?
He said it would. So imagine once they've met any obligations they have for that particular corporate group, I imagine it'll be moving. I don't see him putting anything else in Nevada if they even finish the building.
Yeah, I'm going to say no. I'll take the other side of that bet. I think HQ is going to stay in California. They have Musk will move, but he has a private jet. He can get around wherever he needs to, and they've got facilities there that they're going to keep there. They've got their design center. Even SpaceX in LA's got stuff there. So there are good reasons. You covered those, Mark, why he needs to be in Texas now, and so it makes sense to move there. But I doubt he's going to sell Gene Wilder's house. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he is.
He already did.
Oh, yeah. Did he?
Yeah, he sold all his houses. He's like, I'm going to be homeless, and then
he actually
he's not homeless
sold
anymore.
Gene Wilder's house to a relative of Gene Wilder and helped them finance the purchase.
Oh, cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's divested from all his real estate holdings, apparently, on that street that he bought up every second house, and he's no longer there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't homeless for long.
Where's Grimes gonna live?
Where he already lives.
I
visit with him.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. I believe that certainly Tesla, being a large company as they are now, certainly need the ability to have multiple plants in different states. You need to be able to shift production. You need to be able to let states know that you're not going to be beholden to them because you only have one egg and it's in one basket. If you have a few eggs in different baskets, that allows a company to be more stable and allows them to operate the way that they believe they need to be profitable and to be able to move things forward in the way that they want. So certainly divesting from a certain state makes a lot of sense. In fact, if I were them, I'd be looking at moving that third plant in another state. No matter how different it is from California, I would be pushing to put that in another, Northeast state to have 3 separate U.S. connect. In fact, I'll say come to Ontario. But
there you go.
but
Whole other country.
there's certainly room to put a third, and having them
Don't
be
forget
able to
about
play the,
kicking New
play the
York or
states
Buffalo.
against exactly would allow them more flexibility and more freedom to keep the ball rolling as they have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they do another bespoke
makes
plant, it
sense.
would make sense for Canada, because then they can take advantage of some of the Canadian incentives that you guys have.
That'd be nice. I don't see it coming, but it's certainly with the free well, it used to be called free trade. Now it's called, I don't know.
The
What-
Marine knockoff.
Who knows?
Yeah.
USMCA.
Free trade number 2 would still allow
After 2.0.
the goods to flow back and forth untaxed. But I try to move our premier to get things going on. They already moved on Ford to start producing electric vehicles here in Oakville, Ontario. But we'd love to see a Tesla plant. Patrick, you got cut off. What were you saying?
Oh, that you said you don't see it coming, and I was like, don't give up hope. They just got a bunch of money. They should build another factory, and eventually it'll make sense to have one in Canada, and they'll have
every continent but Antarctica.
Because those penguins just have no money.
That's one reason.
Very good. Well, that about wraps it up. Let's go to some shout outs. Mr. Casey.
I want to do one more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Can we do one more thing?
Yeah.
So you were just talking about how Musk is going to move to Texas. Well, Giga Berlin has been halted due to hibernating snakes.
Again?
Yes.
Can't get a break.
Yes, they can't. So I'm sure they're just down there playing snake jazz. Really.
So Terra Texas could catch up to Giga Berlin now.
Exactly. I wanted to point that out. That's the whole reason. This is my one more thing, Mark. Texas is getting a boost, and Berlin's getting the breaks, and so we might catch up. Go team, Texas.
Yeah, go Texas team, go. But man, how long do snakes hibernate?
Yeah, so they had to stop for bats. What else, Casey?
Bats, snakes, frogs, ants.
Right, and there's concern about these cardboard trees that
and the cardboard trees and the water table that they weren't even touching.
Right. Yeah. So they're getting a lot of things hurled at them in Berlin.
Oh man, that's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. But
they're concerned, but after their concern is addressed, for them to keep pushing it after they say, "Hey, here's how we're solving it. Here's all the everything," and then them to push it again is just kind of like the animals hibernating. I get, because now it's the wintertime again. But
yes, this got into the German courts, and the court told them to stop while they're considering this and deciding whether it's valid or not. But so they're currently on halt there.
Jeez.
So at this point, it's really a race between the second half of Giga Berlin and or not Berlin, Giga China and
Shanghai.
Shanghai.
Their Model Y plant that they're building. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it's a three-way race.
They spotted undercover, like they were literally covered up, some Model Y body shells outside of Giga Berlin.
I saw that.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, about 6 of them, no wheels, just the. Actually, I of it. I can share.
Oh, there you go.
Now.
Maybe they were just tuning the machine. builds the machine.
So there we go. We got 4 vehicles sitting on pallets, and someone has indicated they do not have wheels. My eyes are not that good, but someone zoomed in and said there are no wheels on those vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So there we are.
Why waste the wheels?
First Model Ys arrive in Berlin. So fantastic. All right, some shout-outs. Casey, what do you got for us this week?
So I made a quick video about how to find the fastest supercharger station to go with my video of how to find the fastest supercharger stall when you arrive and find them more than 50% occupied. And then Tesla pushed a update 2020.48.10 to my car to go until Friday. So I'll go ahead and do just a deep dive on that unless nobody makes a video for first. Well, then I'll just do a quick look and then a deep dive. And then I've got the towing video to chop up into pieces and to get out there to you guys at youtube.com/Casey Green. That's KACEYGREEN.
Fantastic. So check out Casey's videos. And Patrick, what do you got for us today?
Hello, everybody. I like my new sign off here has been stay positive, test negative. So be safe out there and stay charged. My normal plugs, I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. And like Mark mentioned earlier, join a club, a Tesla club or an Electric Auto Association club, and you can stay in touch with what's going on in your local area. If there's going to be events where you can reach out to the public and give test drives or just educational opportunities. There's lots of cool stuff happening in those clubs. And I also blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. The recent post I have up there is the modern EV era celebrates 10 years. So I plugged this one last week too. This is a whole decade since the Leaf and the Volt came out. And they really were the start of this new generation. It's building up steam. It's being accelerated. How about that? It's as Casey says, the lightning pedal. We're pressing down on that lightning pedal and accelerating. There you go.
That's coming up this week, isn't it? That the first Leafs and Volts went on sale 10 years ago.
Yep, exactly.
Nice.
Yep. Very good. Very good. Well, if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up for this video. If you're this deep into it, I don't know why you would not. Also, if you haven't clicked subscribe, please do that. That helps us out immensely. We would really appreciate it, and helps us get in front of new eyeballs out there and be seen. So we would appreciate that as well. And with that, we'll roll the music, and we will talk to you